why would I say that you're looking at exit? I would look at it as an opportunity. What's going to happen in the industry is massive consolidation. Because people, very small players would feel that the cost of opening branches and cost of operating may not be that interesting in the long run, so they would look at consolidation. B, whatever we have talked about, valuation, credits, etc., are something which are serious issues which you need to flag as a body, as an all India body, to the government and put across an agenda saying, this is what we want. We don't want all this. You have every right to say that this is the law we would like to have. Why do you want to bring in concepts which are not there in the rest of the world? Why do you want to bring in a complex system when India is not ready for that kind of a system? Why do you need matchmaking input tax credit based on technology when you can allow the GST law to settle for 5 years? You can say invoice-based credit, nothing is going to happen. All these years you had invoice-based credits in excise and VAT. Why should you suddenly change into a technology-based credit? So you have every right to represent, but this is the time. As far as the phobia is concerned, it is very much real. I wouldn't say GST is a threat, but it's definitely down the corner. And I would put it as the small book, Who Moved My Cheese? GST is something like make or break kind of thing. If you wait and then say, let it come, we'll wait for the law to settle down, you will suddenly be washed away. You will not even know what hits you. But if you are able to prepare, you can understand how your vendors are talking to you, hotels would talk to you differently, airlines would talk to you differently, customers anyway will talk to you differently. So you need to understand their patterns. Why are they insisting on these kind of things? Suddenly they will say, we will source from one location, why don't you consolidate everything and provide, because they want the credit in that location. So vendor behavior would change, customer behavior would change. So you need to flag all that and then package it if you're looking at how to live with the existing system. It will be a challenge, but it's not something which is insurmountable.
Sir, like we all are inbound operators. So 20% of cost we are paying to buy the entrance ticket. Taj Mahal costing $1,000 and so on. Similarly, when we participate, we pay to the government of India. We pay to the small guide at the railway station, the porter. So how we are going to take the invoice from the porter or the entrance fees which we are paying at the counter or from the government of India when they raise the invoices for their stall to us? If they are not going to provide, do they have the penalty causes on the government of India?
Not only do they supposed to provide invoices, they are supposed to upload the data of their service provided to you.
What will happen in this case?
No, see, somewhere there's a disconnect between vision and reality. This is what they have visualized, and they've provided a draft law based on this, and they've assumed that the entire country will immediately get up like, switching on, switching off light and switch over to GST. It's very different. India is a very big country. You have so many unorganized players. It will take time for them to settle down and come to the system. You have to give them time. So probably this kind of technology should have a threshold. Let us say 500 crores or 1,000 crores of turnover, you bring in technology-based credits. Otherwise, you allow them a normal system of credits and then let them slowly come into the picture. It will take time. It should take time. That's how it should grow. All countries have faced music. No country has been happy about the way GST has brought in. Governments have fallen. If you look at Malaysia, which implemented on GST on 1/4/2015, 1 day before, 2 days before, everybody was rushing to all the malls and shops and buying whatever as well, bread, eggs, vegetables, everything they were buying. They were stocking up. And in our country, the customer rushes to the petrol bunk based on a rumor that prices might go up. So imagine the chaos that can happen in the commodity space, in a good space, or on the last stock, 31-3 period or 1st July period. It is challenge, yeah.
Good evening. We are a company that provides services in 8 different cities to multiple vendors. So are you telling me that I have to file different kinds of taxes or charge different kinds of taxes in 8 different cities because they're all in different states? Plus I have to hire accountants or special people who will be uploading the data and everything. So not only GST is a cost, but salary costs for...
See, if you're operating from Chennai and you're planning a holiday for a client in Jammu and Kashmir, if the client is Chennai, you can very well say that, the place of supply of service is my client location, therefore I will charge CGST and Tamil Nadu GST and finish it off. But if you're going to have clients across, you will have to decide whether it is IGST or something. So if you're going to operate state-specific, you may have to go for state-specific registration, have an accountant who understands the state law, and instead of 2 returns, you will upload return every month. You will have different accounting for IGST, different account for CGST, and different accounting for SGST. My advice to you, if you have a good accounts guy, don't allow him to retire.
ask your question, sir, quickly.
Yes, please.
Good evening. My name is Bobby Kayasani from Bakshi Transport Service, Delhi. Two questions. First, I'll ask, a couple of days back, there was a front page news on Economic Times that GST might cover petroleum products. What is your say on this?
Second question.
Second question is that very dynamically you said that GST is this, and thanks to you to making this room little cordial. The Congress government was pro-GST. The present BJP government is pro-GST. Yourself is anti-GST. Any say on this?
I'm not anti-GST. I'm worried about the way the bureaucrats are drafting the law of GST.
Very right. But what,
GST
what
as a design is
exactly
brilliant.
is the negative? I personally, as a tourist transport operator, I'm pro-GST.
Every-
What is the basic
if
intent?
you give seamless credit, if you say that all your revenues are taxable, but all your credits are seamless, and goods and services can flow without any problem, without this complex set of compliances, GST is beautiful. But the moment the bureaucrat steps in and says, you need to do all these model laws and you know what I talked about in those slides, then whatever is the benefit of GST is lost.
Sir, both the bureaucrats, both the government bureaucrats, Congress and BJP, they were pro-GST, they are pro-GST. So how do we counter them?
See, this is a draft model law. So if every association is going to say, we don't want this, then government
No,
will
but why will the association say, sir?
Oh,
Accept what you have said.
let
But
me-
please
let-
explain me
let-
that why should we not accept GST? Why should we not?
Now, for a moment, let me make the set the record straight. I'm not against GST. I'm against the way GST is going to be enacted. There's a big difference. If GST is welcome, it is welcome in so many parameters. You can still have a brilliant GST if you get rid of 3 stumbling blocks. And don't worry, you're not the only association. CII has already made its noise, Madras Chamber has already made its noise, Association has already made its noise. Not a single manufacturer has welcomed the 3 or 4 slides which we talked about. So everybody's talked about it, government is also aware of it, but whether they would implement or not is a question, because today states have a very big role in decision making.
Okay, so we're going to end now with
The petroleum products, sir.
Yeah, I need to wind up. Petroleum products, in my view, will not come into GST.
so one
Thank you.
question over there and one question, Mr. Matthews, and then we'll land up.
Is there something we can learn from large countries like maybe China, United States, and see how they have solved these problems and follow that, such systems?
Yeah, US is probably the worst example you can think of, because they don't even have a proper service tax. They don't even have a proper sales tax. They don't even have a VAT system. If they have a VAT system, they'll have a civil war in their country. So they are very happy with the direct tax collection. But if you look at European model, if you look at EU, or if you look at UK, they have a VAT. It's a very robust system. Country to country, goods move, services move, exports happen, refunds happen. It's a very smooth system. High level of compliance, low rates of tax has worked initially. High rates of tax will never result in high level of compliance. And you need to factor the India factor. It's a very difficult thing for a large set of 1 billion associates to suddenly come into the system. You have to slowly drag them into the system by giving them a good, easy law to implement. For example, a 75 lakh turnover vendor cannot have technology. He may use a smartphone for booking film tickets, but he will not have an IT operator or a computer operator to upload data. That's a vast difference. And those documents are not going to be simple. I've way run out of my schedule. So to answer your question, it's not easy to compare other countries except Europe.
Mr. VAITHEESWARAN, I just wanted to ask you a question with your sort of experience. When do you think the GST will actually come into force?
While our Prime Minister would like April 1st as a deadline and is pushing every department and revenue officers to address this deadline, April 1st would be a challenge. My guess is July 1st or September 1st. Around any of those dates could happen, because industry would need definitely time. After the law comes, industry wants time for getting the systems ready. So it should happen. If it doesn't happen by September, it will not happen in this term. It will come in the next term.
So are you saying as an association, we should make a petition, representation, something to someone?
You should make a presentation to GST Council. You sit with your MC, EC, however does it works, and look at what would be the ideal rate for you. You should make a presentation on what you want. 2, you should ask for a system which gives you credit seamlessly without all this kind of complexities. 3, you must get rid of a discretionary valuation mechanism. If these 3 things are done, you can live with GST. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vaidheeswaran. Maybe we should wait for the 1st of April, All Fools' Day, for GST to unroll.